Do you want to kick
Go ahead. You can roll.
everybody? Well, I just want
Open
to thank
mic.
you so much for coming tonight. We are doing like a biz chat, open mic night. Feel free to drop any questions, anything that you may have in the comments. I'm going to be speaking first and sharing my journey. And on the business side, Joy's going to be sharing hers, and then Michelle's going to wrap it up. And it actually it works out amazing this way because this is kind of the order that we are in rank in business. And everybody gets to choose how much or how little they want to share the business. And so I just want to thank you for taking your time tonight. We're going to keep this to, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes max, probably, depending on how many questions there are. That way you can get the information and you decide what you want to do with it. And so my name's Elise Winter, and I am a single mama to two boys, and I am also a licensed real estate agent in the state of Oregon. I have, oh goodness, I'm in this new phase in 2023, you guys, that I shifted my business and now I'm working full time as a wellness coach and also expanding into a few other things that God has put on my heart and discerning which route to go with some coaching certifications. But for me, I started Plexus. I started using the products in January 2020. I was 1 year post-divorce and just really wanted some energy and wanted to feel like myself again. So when I got started with a weight loss advanced and was just like, Michelle had reached out with the 60-day challenge, and I'm always up for a challenge. Competition is like, if you're familiar with Strength Finders at all, competition's number 5 of my characteristics. And so I'm like, sure, let's do it. I've always been an athlete. And I'll be the first to say that I wasn't super consistent with using my products. But what I did know is a year and a half, I always ordered. And then a year and a half later, June 2021, I decided that I needed to get serious because I had some serious fatigue and brain fog from some things in my life at that time. And I just decided that I was going to be committed to my health, because if I didn't take it serious, who was? I didn't have anybody else back up in my house to tap out and say, hey, you take over the kids. It's all me. And my kiddos at the time were, oh goodness, 2 and 5.5 when I started the products. And so it was a lot. I worked in real estate and was busy, and I saw immediate results and just a consistency piece. And honestly, I've been sharing the whole time. And most of the time it was like, this was my third business in order of rank at the time when I started. And people would just notice like, hey, you're looking better, you got more energy, you're losing weight. And so it's like, hey, if something's working for you and people around you start noticing, you want to share. And who doesn't like a couple $100 extra or their products paid for every month? Sign me up, pay gas, whatever it was at the time. And so in March of this year, I was led to make this my number 1 income. As for me, what it provided was time and location freedom. And that was most important to me, because working in real estate for 8.5 years at that point, I didn't have location freedom. Sure, I could pay other agents to show clients houses. I did prove to myself in 2020 that I could work my business from my parents' farm when I was back there for 6 weeks during lockdowns, but it wasn't sustainable. And the thing is I was on the lacrosse field and t-ball field this spring 4 days a week. And this fall, I'm on the soccer field 4 days a week with my boys. And so first and foremost is my children. It's like my faith and my family, and then career. And I am able to provide an income to pay bills and to provide that lifestyle that I've dreamed of. And when I think about success, it's having that location freedom. It's having the choices to make the decisions that I want. It's being able to say yes. And you just never know what's going to happen when you feel amazing and show up and you start glowing up as people notice and they recognize, especially in my industry. I real estate has taken a hard shift nationwide, and people are like, what are you doing this? And not why am I doing Plexus, but people want to know what you're doing, because when we show up on social media or just in person and we're spreading joy, like spreading happiness, positivity, like for me, this community is amazing. Real estate was pretty cutthroat, and as amazing as it was to be at the different brokerages that I've worked at, this is different. And so if you're looking for community, you're welcome here. And I love being able to say yes on my schedule and my time. So I'm gonna pass it off to Joy, and she can share her journey and how she got started and her journey along the way.
Thank you, Elise. Yes. So my name is Joy, and I'm a registered dietitian. And this is my pretty much 2-year anniversary from when my order was first placed. I actually think it was September 29th. I was thinking about looking back at it, but I remember exactly where I was on the phone with Michelle. And I was at a very low spot in my life. I was juggling, 3 different jobs essentially. Yeah, it was at a volleyball tournament. Yeah, I was at three different jobs, all working for the school district that my kids go to. But I was an athletic director. I was a health teacher. I was also a bus driver. And when you work for a small school district, you do whatever it takes to, help out. But also, I was at a point where I had just taken a big pay cut to work at that school district where my kids went to. It was important to me to not be traveling like I had been as a consultant dietitian. And, I knew my family needed me. I knew I needed to not be gone so much. And so I took on all those multiple hats the school district gave me to try to, fill the hole of that financial gap. And unfortunately, it had me still working long hours. It had me working, a 12-hour day was a short day. I was still not happy. I got to see my daughters during the day, but that's really was the only plus to it. And I had always, with my health, I was a dietitian, and I'd always been an athlete. I'd always, know how to eat right. I didn't really think I ate unhealthy, and I never thought I had an unhealthy gut. But what I had was stubborn weight. Being a lifelong athlete, and also, knowing how to count calories, knowing how, with the right way to eat, I still always kept extra weight on, even though I would exercise 5-6 times a week, running 5 miles or more. And it was just always frustrating. Even I was a collegiate rower, and it was even frustrating then, like wondering why the weight was just always there. I performed well, but just the weight just always stuck on. But I also dealt with anxiety. I dealt with hypoglycemia. I dealt with energy swings. Hypoglycemia is where your blood sugars tank, and the joke is like you're hangry, but it's a extreme hangry. It is where if you don't get something in, you're going to get nauseous. You're going to be down for an hour before you start feeling better again. And that really kept me trapped. I never realized it until I healed my gut and got free of it. But, I was always needing to know when my next meal was going to be. I was always needing to know, I have snacks with me at all times. And this was before I was a mom. People say it's a mom thing to always have snacks around, but no, it was for me because I never wanted to get in that place of extremely low blood sugar and, extreme hangry. And it's not a fun way to live that way, because then you have anxiety about that. I had anxiety. Yeah, it was always hard for me to just relax and be content. And so I was working long days. I was needing energy. I was, because of my long days, and when you drive a bus, you need to do what you have to do to stay awake and be alert. And so I was, drinking Monster energy drinks that, as a dietitian, I know were awful for me, but I, just was trying to get through, and that's not a way to live. And so I met Michelle running Hit to Coast, and she said that she helped people with their gut health, and I'm a dietitian, and I'm like, okay, well, I know about unhealthy guts is what I thought at the time. And but she planted a seed, and I started cyber stalking her too afterwards. And I was just thinking, I'm like, it's something I hadn't tried. I've tried Beachbody, I did Noom, I did MetaFast back when it was MetaFast, and I guess it's Optiva now. Keto, it's all the things, because you see these results, and we're trained as dietitians to recognize them as if they're fad diets or not. But when you see people see results, and you still want those results, I'm still human. And so I would try them, and I get, my hopes would just get crushed. And, but when I saw what Michelle was sharing, I was like, well, I haven't tried gut health. So it's 60-day money back guarantee. Why not give it a try? And Michelle would, she would ask me how my results were, and I had lost weight. I lost 20 pounds in the first 6 weeks. It was great. And it gave me energy with my busy work life. I was able to just, pop a few pills, capsules, and you have the drinks, and things really fell in place. And Michelle would ask me to share, and I'd say, no, I didn't tell anybody that what I was doing. I didn't even tell my husband what I was doing. And when somebody asked, I'd say, oh, it's fancy Metamucil, it's fancy probiotics. And the truth is, it is. So, but I got to a point where I just felt so good, and I realized my anxiety was gone. I realized I wasn't held captive by food anymore. That as a dietitian, I needed to share that. And so, but I had been burned by, previous companies like this. I had done Mary Kay, I had done Beachbody, and I was scared to even purchase the products initially. That was what held me back. Was that fear about like, oh, what am I getting myself into again? And what I say now, 2 years later, is that waiting as long as I did for my first order is my only regret. And I love that there's no quotas with this, because that's what I was worried about before. I love, the 60 money back guarantee. Even as somebody who earns money from Plexus, I can return product and get my money back and not be blackballed. But there was so much I just assumed, that it couldn't be that good, but it was. And as I've learned more with this company, they really take care of us, and they really do their best for high quality products. And I'm a dietitian that I never thought I had an unhealthy gut, but so many things in my life have been fixed because of gut health. And I know so much more now about the gut thanks to this company, and because of research that I do outside of Plexus and continuing education that I do outside, that I love that everything is science proven, and like my reputation's on the line sharing this as a dietitian, and I have no worries about that. I mean, 2 years in and going strong. So that's a bit of my story. So pass it on to Michelle.
Did you forget to mention that the little talkative one over there is thanks to Plexus?
Well, I didn't want to, ramble on too long, but yes, yeah, I am now 43 tomorrow, and I had a surprise baby because I got so healthy, and my hormones are balanced that I ended up, God figured I needed another baby, and he was so right. And so, and yes, and at least I am retired from teaching at the school, and I still help out because my daughters go there, and it's my school that I grew up going to, but I'm not dependent on it. I tell them no, and it's great. So my time is better used now with this guy.
Much better decision.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. I am going to wrap it up for us. And we are definitely going to stick around if you guys have any questions at the end to do a little Q&A, but you're also welcome to drop anything into the chat if you'd like. So my name is Michelle Rose. I have been on the pink train in Pinkland over here for actually 7.5 years. I too started because I desperately needed some help with my health. But when I started, I had the full knowledge of the fact that I could use this to create an additional stream of income for my family. And that was something that we so very desperately needed. My husband and I were fairly recently married. We had just had our first baby, and I was pulling back on my work hours. There was a big shift happening in my job, in my career. I was a personal trainer, and the gym that I worked at for 5 years and I'd been a full-time trainer making really good money with benefits, all of those things, had gone under right before I had my daughter. And so I had this shift then of running my own business basically and subleasing places, and it was a lot, and I was just really getting burnt out on the juggle of my job. And then also I was a new mom, and I wanted to be I didn't want to leave my baby. I wanted to fully embrace motherhood and everything that came with it. And so when this opportunity presented itself, my thought process at that time, because I'm full transparency, the whole paycheck to paycheck, sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's cute. That would have been fun. We were credit card bill to credit card bill because our paychecks weren't enough to cover our bills. We were living off our credit cards. And that was not a place I had never been in debt until I got married. And reality set in, and it was just like a whole different life that I was not comfortable with. And it was a big stressor on me, on our relationship, on our family. And the option of like, oh, I'm just going to go work more, that wasn't really there with where my career was at. And so I had this, if I could make a couple $100 extra a month, like if I could pay for our groceries, life changing. If I could get us living paycheck to paycheck, life changing. Like just getting us off of living off the credit cards was huge. We'll figure out how we're going to pay for them later. Like we just need to like pay our bills, right? And so that was where my head was at first, and that I did see the opportunity, and I had people standing in front of me every day when I went to work telling me about all their health issues, how they wanted to lose weight, all of those things. I was their personal trainer, and your personal trainer is like your therapist. If you don't know that you know your hairstylist that you just tell all the things to, your personal trainer is the same thing. So I was like a marriage counselor, a babysitter, a house sitter. Like I wore all the hats. Like I saved a couple marriages, I'm pretty sure, in my days. But so that's where I started. I started telling my clients about this because that just made sense. And that's kind of where I first started building my business. And then it was like, my husband was seeing me use the products. He got on board, one of my best friends, and it just kind of slowly people were seeing what was happening and they wanted to try it. So that's where we started. And then slowly over time, it kept building to more. It went from like, okay, I'm like making a couple $100 to, hey, what if I could pay our mortgage bill? Man, that would be huge. And then it slowly just kept morphing to like a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. I was able to walk away from my personal training career. I was juggling lots of different jobs in various different times in my life. Like Elise and Joy both were like, oh, I had 3 jobs or 3 businesses. That was me. I was a personal trainer. I became the head cross country and distance track coach at our local community college. I started another little side business for fun. Like I have that entrepreneurial spirit and lifestyle that I'm just always dabbling in like, what else? What maybe I can do this and do that. And that's just me. And so I, a couple of years ago, ended up hanging up my hat on all the other things. And I went all in with Plexus. And that's when I became a top leader in the company, a 6-figure earner. I earn a luxury trip every year. I drive a Lexus, thanks to Plexus. And so when I went all in, like game changer, absolute game changer. And that's why all these ladies are here is because I was like, I'm going to stop getting out of my own way and I'm really going to jump into this. And now this is like the primary source of income for my family. You know, my husband was able to switch careers in March and is working very minimally. We are a homeschooling family and I get to create my hours. And the beauty is he's home and he gets to create those beautiful memories with our kids. And that's something I've been able to give my husband and my kids, something that I didn't have as a child. And that's a dad that's home and present. My dad was always having to work and gone from the house working because of his career, and he had to provide for our family. And so like time is the most beautiful gift you can give someone. And that's what we have in our lives. And that's really, truly what I want everyone here to have and to experience is that time. We get a limited amount of time. Once our time here is done, it's done. Right. And so I want the best quality for all of us and for you, because if you feel like crap, everything else is crappy, right? And I want you to have the freedom to do with that time what you please, what you desire, what is on your heart. So that's a little bit of my story. If anybody, Joy has something else to share too, it looks like.
Well, I just want to share, I mean, it has always bugged me, rubbed me wrong, you know, my whole adult life. The concept of having to ask permission for time off and having to I mean, I remember my best friend got married and I remember worrying, like it was a radio contest, which whole other story. She won a radio contest, they were getting married the next day, and I remember stressing out about that call to my boss for the time off for my best friend to get married. And yeah, that's that feeling of where you're not respected as a person, you know, living life, you know, that you can't have holidays with your family. It's, you know, there's people
that was
every day that have to deal
like,
with that.
as I was talking about with my dad had paid time and a half for holidays. So all the holidays, except like Christmas, typically my dad was at work and was like, when are the kids home? Holidays. When is dad working? Holidays. You know, so it's like it's a double-edged sword a lot of the time, is like,
yeah. I would like to share one thing that I put in the chat, you guys. I have worked in network marketing space for over 10 years and have never earned a trip. And I started working this business mid-March, and this contest launched at the end of April, and I earned it by the second week in July. And then I earned myself and a guest August 3rd. And so I just want to inspire you to that there's possibilities, and whether it's like you and a friend, your parents, a partner get to go on a vacation that's fully paid for, like, and then I earned $150 like travel credit. And so it's just like there's so much, and they're so generous, and it's for all. It's not just for the top earners in the company. So yeah.
Yeah.
And
there's 8 of us all going on that cruise.
Right. And there's another trip in February that the contest is going on now, and I've already earned a quarter of it. Like, and we haven't even finished the first month of it. So it's possible. And so don't think it's out of reach. And however you show up, you get to choose how you want to do that.
I love it. I love it. Any questions? Comments, concerns, snide remarks? Throwing it in there.
Baby just spit up all over me.
Oh, Arlen, that was sweet.
Yeah. Always assume with my baby.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you ladies for being on here. Super appreciate your time. I want to, just as a thank you for bringing your time here with us today, I do want to extend a little thank you gift. We are going to offer an additional $10 off if you get started on your journey with us tonight. So what that looks like is the company is actually giving a $10 discount currently, and we would be adding an additional $10 off on that. And you can kind of pick your packs. We have a couple different price points, all the way from $112 up to, about $300 or so. And you can take advantage of that tonight for a $20 discount instead of 10. But that's going to end tonight. So just wanted to give you a heads up. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening.